this video, we're talking about the DJI MAVIC 3 Pro. This drone has been upgraded to now have 3 different cameras on it, and there's a few other features that make this a super powerful drone for content creators. All right, let's get into it. Now, quick disclosure, this is not a sponsored video. DJI did send this drone out to me before the launch to test it out, but all of my opinions are my own. But this channel is supported by those of you who buy my LUTs and my courses over on the Creator Film School. And I have a whole set of drone LUTs that you can check out after this video. I'll include a link down below in the description so you can see all the different courses that are offered and also the LUTs that I have available. So the MAVIC 3 Pro isn't a completely new drone. It's an upgraded MAVIC 3. There's now 3 cameras on this drone. You get the same 4/3 Hasselblad camera, that's a 24mm, but then you also have 2 other additional cameras on the front of this drone. The second camera is a 3x zoom, and it's a 1 and 1.3 inch 48 megapixel sensor, and this one is equivalent to a 70mm. Now the third camera is a 7x zoom, and this one has a 1/2 inch sensor, and this one is equivalent to a 166mm lens. Now when it comes to the aperture for these cameras, it's a little bit different. So on the 1x Hasselblad camera, you get a 2.8 to f11, so you can adjust your aperture. Now on the 3x and the 7x, the aperture is fixed. On the 3x camera, it's a 2.8, and on the 7x, it's a 3.4. Now the original MAVIC 3 had the same Hasselblad and 7x zoom cameras. This one just has the additional 3x zoom, which for me is a much more usable zoom range than 7x. So when you look at these side by side, here are the 3 different focal lengths. Now the 7x is definitely super cool to use because it's a focal length that you almost never see on a drone unless somebody's using a MAVIC 3. However, when it comes to making videos, I found that the 3x, the 70mm, is just a much more usable focal range when I'm out filming, especially when I'm out by myself. You could do some really cool movements with that 3x zoom and create a ton of parallax in the background, which gives you this really cool and unique look that you don't see on any other drones unless you're flying something like an Inspire or some sort of heavy lift drone with a bigger camera and a longer lens on that camera. And so the big advantage of using the MAVIC 3 Pro is now you have this focal length of 70mm, but it packs down super small into a backpack and you can take it with you anywhere. And you pair that with some of the other features in this drone and it makes it a super useful drone when you're out flying. So when you're looking at the screen here, one of the things that you're gonna notice is how this zoom works. When you're in video mode, I'm in just normal video mode, you have a 1x, a 3x, and a 7x. And when you click on these, it's just gonna switch to the different camera. Now, when you go to the menu and you go to your camera settings, you'll now see a new option for D-Log M. And this is available on the 1x and 3x cameras. So on the main 1x camera, the Hasselblad, you get D-Log. However, you don't get this on the 3x or the 7x. On the 3x, you have D-Log M, and then on the 7x, you only have access to normal color mode. And so let me just show you what the difference is between D-Log and D-Log M. So here's a shot that I did in D-Log, and you can see how flat this is on the histogram and how little saturation there is on the vector scope. Now, when we do this same shot in D-Log M, you'll see that on the waveform, there's much more contrast. And then when you look on the vector scope, there's more saturation. So D-Log M is still log. It's still a flat profile. However, it's not as flat as D-Log. But the big benefit is you get D-Log M on both the 1x and 3x cameras, so that you can color grade your footage and not have to deal with different variations of color profiles. This just makes the whole workflow of working with this drone and switching between the 1x and the 3x camera so much easier. And all the footage that you're seeing in this video was shot using D-Log M, and I've been color grading it with my set of cinematic aerial LUTs, which I've just added a new D-Log M to standard conversion LUT in that LUT pack. If you want to get my drone LUTs to use in your videos, then make sure you head down to my description. I'll put a link to where you can check out my pack of cinematic aerial drone LUTs. Now with the MAVIC 3 Pro, you can shoot in 4K 60 across all 3 cameras. So if you're someone that shoots in 24, 25, or 30, well now you have the ability to shoot 60 frames per second, which allows you to slow down your footage and make it even smoother in the edit. And it's not limited by the camera. All 3 cameras can shoot 4K 60. And the other cool thing is if you get the Cine version, you could get Apple ProRes on all 3 cameras. So the big thing with this drone is that now, no matter which camera you use, all of the recording options, all of your settings are all gonna match up. The only difference is that Hasselblad camera versus the smaller sensors that's in the 3X and the 7X. Now, personally, I'm often shooting out by myself, and so one of the really cool features with all three of these cameras is that you could do active track no matter which camera you're using. So right now I'm shooting with the 7X zoom, and even just sitting here like this, you could see how stable the footage looks for shooting at 166 millimeter. So DJI has improved the stability of all of these cameras so that it looks super stable no matter which camera you're working with. But what I could do is grab myself with the active track, hit point of interest, and then I'm gonna slowly go to the left. And I'm gonna let it just circle me in point of view mode. And you can see how much parallax you can get, and the camera's just staying locked onto me as it spins around me doing an orbit. It just opens up so many different creative possibilities when you're working with this 3X and 7X zoom. I mean, this is wild, the kind of footage I'm getting, and the drone's just out there circling around by itself, getting this crazy, insane Michael Bay parallax with this 166 millimeter zoom. Now, if I am to like walk up over here, you'll see that the drone's just gonna follow me as I walk around. I could do my A-roll like this because it's tracking me. I could walk around and it's gonna keep a good shot. It's like such an insane shot that you wouldn't think from a drone. And using the DJI mic, I could sit here and do my A-roll, and it looks like I'm not necessarily shooting on a drone. All right, one more shot just because this is so cool. I'm gonna keep it locked onto me. It's in spotlight mode, and I'm just gonna raise the drone up. Now I got this crazy hero shot. Would be really hard to do if I was doing this manually without having this locked on active track. Now also, you still have access to the Explore mode, which does the 28x zoom, but that's a digital zoom on the 7X camera. And when it comes to slow motion, you could still shoot at 4K 120 frames per second, but you can only do that with the 1X camera. You can't do it on either of the zoom cameras. So I really wanted to see how this drone performs when shooting a real adventure video, because that's the whole thing about this drone, is that you can put it in a backpack and take it with you on adventure. So I did a mountain bike trail that was 16 miles long, and I took the drone along with me, and I found myself gravitating towards using the 3X for a lot of the shots that I wanted to get more dynamic looking footage. And then when I was tracking, I was mostly using the 1X camera because it tracked a lot better in the situations that I was in. However, using the waypoints with this drone and the 3X camera makes a huge difference. So there was different shots where I would set up a series of waypoints and then have the drone fly through those waypoints and be able to get a really cinematic looking shot without having the camera bump around trying to follow us using the tracking. So pairing this 3X camera with the waypoint functionality within the drone just makes it so easy to get these super dynamic shots, and doing it all completely autonomous. It gives you so much power in such a small drone. So if you want to see more about the DJI Mavic 3 Pro, I'll put a link down below in the description. But next, you should check out this video right here, which goes through a ton of different drone moves. It's going to help you when you're out flying. I'll see you over there.